Oh, you want to make friends as an adult? Join a hobby. That advice works until it doesn't. Because we've all been there. You show up to a board game night or a ceramics class only to find that the people there are really not your type. I guess you have no choice. You have to go collect every hobby out there until you can meet people that are. Even with an open mind, not everybody's really meant to get along. Thankfully, there's a smarter way to go about meeting people through thematic reoccurring events, which is the social version of what other people just call hobbies. Let's get this straight first. There's two types. The ones for cool people and the ones for everyone else. No, but seriously, there's short-term and long-term reoccurring events. The latter builds on the former, so let's start with the first one. Short-term reoccurring events are those that happen ideally on a weekly basis, maybe even a little more often than that. Sometimes bi-weekly, sometimes monthly, but usually not longer than that. These events are important because it gives everyone a chance to get exposed to each other over and over without there being any pressure on anyone to actually get to know each other. This is the great thing about hobbies and why everyone tends to recommend them as a way to make friends when you're an adult. Good faith advice, but there needs to be a little bit of troubleshooting. We'll get back to that in a second. The second one is long-term reoccurring events. This is the one people really don't think about as often. We use the same idea from the short-term reoccurring events, but we stretch it out over a longer period. So these are annual or biannual events. Think of music festivals, conventions, Ren fairs, and other events that usually take place over at least 2 days or more. Generally, these events are going to require more resource investment upfront, time, money, general effort. But the payoff is you get to condense a bunch of trust and shared experiences into a small timeline that normally would take much longer in other circumstances. Here's how most people use hobbies to meet people and build connections. They pick a short-term recurring event, show up once, see that there's nobody that they think will be their type of person, and then they never come again. I'm actually going to bend your mind a little bit here. I call it layer 1 scouting. Better way to go about this is to go to that short-term reoccurring event enough times so that you can talk to everybody and see who you have enough compatibility with to at least be on the level of a friendly acquaintance. Once you have at least 3 or 4 other people that you have this level of relationship with, you're going to want to merge them together. Start with grabbing food after the activity or making loose plans to go to something together in the future. Now, you have a small squad that grants you access to group events, private events, and invitation abilities. Let me explain. Group events are built around the assumption that there are multiple people glued together with the intention and expectation of having a shared experience together. And this might be the type of event that you will actually find your people at. For example, county fairs, improv shows, or escape rooms. Yes, you can do these single, but the experience is not built or intended for that specific audience. When you have a small group to go with you, it's very easy to bump elbows with others and still be comfortable and relaxed because you know you already have a group of people with you that hopefully you have some level of rapport with. The second one, private events. This is the category of kickbacks and potlucks, pool parties, and any other sort of closed invitation events that somebody might host at their place. Third part was invitation abilities. Now this one's really key because now that you have a small group that can go to these different events or host their own events, it's incredibly easy to invite other people to join in on the fun you're already having. You're going to this event whether they're coming with you or not, and that is a great place to come from emotionally when you are inviting other people. Now, long-term recurring events takes everything I just mentioned and squishes and condenses it into a small time period, sometimes just a weekend. You can build an entire group from scratch solo at these, but it's way more difficult than if you already have a small squad to go to this event with you beforehand. Basic gist is this. Over these long-term reoccurring events, you're gonna see the same people day after day after day, at least for a little bit. So while you're going through your activities on the first day, be social and bump elbows with as many strangers as you can that you think you might have something in common with. or anyone that you just find interesting in general. If things have been going well so far in the conversation, pitch the idea of meeting up for that one thing the next day. And while you're at it, introduce them to your group. Manners really count here. The most ideal situation is that you introduce them to your group and they introduce you to theirs. You can gently prompt this by asking them to introduce you to their friends. And once you guys are all acquainted, meeting up the next day for that one thing you talked about becomes incredibly easy. To make this even smoother, make sure that the thing you're meeting up for the next day is still event specific. So at an anime convention, that might be a panel. At a Ren fair, it might be a workshop on sword fighting. If it makes sense for the event, if things go well, see if they have plans for lunch or dinner that night. And now that you guys have seen each other 3 times, it's super simple to plan to meet up for other events in the future, or even the same one a year from the time that you're going. You're gonna be very surprised at how close you can get with somebody that's a stranger over just a weekend. These are the broad strokes, but I can go way more in depth on these 2 types of events. Context, details, or stories, let me know. And thanks for watching.